Hey everybody, it's been a long time since I've done a video or even blogged around what's been going on, even throughout the entire COVID thing. The last 2.5 months have been crazy, and then also the last week or two has also been crazy in other ways. And I thought I'd just take some time. I finally got some alone time amidst the chaos in my life because the kids are all around. So they went out to the park to play. I've already made dinner, and I'm in my son's room, uh, just as a chance to talk about what's going on. And and one of the things I wanted to mention was that people have been reaching out to me. Sometimes I post stuff that it's like, oh, are you okay? I'm like, well, I think we're all struggling with it a little bit, and but for the most part, I think I'm okay. I mean, I have people that love me, and I have great community support, and I'm pretty good at the mindset and resilience thing. But it's also hard sometimes. I wouldn't say I have bad days. I have bad hours. Um, but one of the things I want to talk about is the fact that you know a lot of people are struggling. A lot of people are challenged in their own way, and they're all dealing with everything that's going on as best they can. Hey Nadeem, good to see you. Everyone's dealing with this as best they can in their own way, and so I want to let everybody know that it's totally fine to deal with it how you want. If you want to engage, great. If you don't want to engage, that's okay. Don't feel guilty for being overwhelmed, for not getting to that message, for not being able to post stuff. Sometimes you need to. Self-care is the most important thing you can do right now during this time. And I can tell you that the first month and a half or 2 months of COVID, I was overwhelmed, and I didn't have time to do anything except for hustle for new business and take care of the kids and all that kind of stuff. I even tried doing the sweet stories and songs maneuver, and it was really hard. And hi Godwin, hi Jesse. It was hard. It was hard to keep it up. I just never got a chance to do it, and so it's very difficult to do these things. Oh, I gotta love the love. Thanks, Jesse. That's nice. It's hard to keep it all up. And now, in the last 2.5 months, I've been reaching out to people via email, and I've had over 200 conversations with people to understand what people are doing, how they're dealing with it, how they're coping, what are some of the trends they're seeing. I'm looking at trends in the speaker industry. I'm looking at trends in the event industry. I'm looking at trends, even university students. What's going to happen to them in the fall? Like parents and their kids and summer camps. All these things. We're trying to figure this stuff out as we go along. And what I want to share with you is that there's three kind of things that there's been a blog post in my head for months, and I haven't had a chance to share with you. I'm going to share with you right now. Okay, there's three things I see that are major challenges for us. First thing is what I call the uncertainty principle. There's just so much uncertainty. We don't know. We're not certain in our government. We're not certain in our institution. We're not certain with our scientific community. We're not certain with ourselves. We're not certain with our own families. There's people that want to be strict with conditions. People want to be more open with conditions. We don't know what's going to happen 2 weeks from now, a month from now, 6 months from now, or even a year from now. That's a lot of uncertainty to deal with. And on top of that, what happens in 2 weeks from now, we don't know if something happened a week before that will affect the following week, because the way COVID sets up, it's asymptotic for like 2 weeks. So you don't know what's going to happen. So again, it's very, very, that's a lot of uncertainty to deal with. And so I think that's really frustrating. We don't know what's the best way to homeschool our kids. We don't know what the best way is to, navigate if someone gets sick or if to go to the hospital. We don't know how to navigate. There's just so much uncertainty, and that uncertainty is like probably the primary driver of everything. And even when you take into account all these different things that are going on now with the protests and with all the different things that we're all challenged with our finances, the economics of situations, dealing with my parents, dealing with my kids. These are all things that are very, very challenging. And so that uncertainty principle makes it very difficult for all of us to navigate it properly, which is why when people, sometimes people are out there saying stuff that and they're having doubts about things, I certainly understand that, but at the same time, we also have to reassure each other and offer the right evidence and offer the right support and try to, be a community. And that's why when I say there's clarity and there's chaos, they go hand in hand with what's going on. Uncertainty has both. Having been an entrepreneur for 15 years, I can tell you that, and a parent, I think I'm more resilient when it comes to dealing with uncertainty. But this has been a lot to deal with, and I've had, a discussion with Ananda, with my wife, and other people, and yeah, it's overwhelming. Luckily, with the conversation I've had with people, I've been able to talk it through, and that's been really helpful. I think we should all talk to each other and message each other, and just send a message, hey, how are you doing? And let book calls, whether it's video calls or phone calls or text messages, whatever, or voice calls. Let's just start connecting with each other, because connection and community is what's going to get us through the chaos and the uncertainty. So, that's the first thing. So the first thing that we're all dealing with is that the uncertainty principle, and uncertainty across everything. I don't know how I'm going to repivot my business. I don't even know how I'm going to rejig my income. That's uncertainty on my end. Some people are uncertain about university in the fall. Some people are uncertain with where their job's going to go. Are they going to lose their job or keep their job? That uncertainty thing is extremely difficult for us to navigate. And yeah, I agree with you. Part of self-love is ask for help when you need it. So if people want to talk, or reach out to me. I'm a good listener. If you want to talk to someone else or you want help, support is so important, and working on our mindset's key. So uncertainty is one thing. The second thing I think that's going on with this whole COVID situation, and again, I'm not even getting into the stuff around the protests, which again is still overwhelming me, is the second piece, which is overwhelm. We are overwhelmed with tons of information. We are overwhelmed with misinformation. We are overwhelmed with our time, overwhelmed with we're overwhelmed with the people in our lives and the lack of people. We're overwhelmed by not being able to see people or hug people and things like that. Tiffany's watching. I love it. Heather, please reach out. Let's chat. Actually, we emailed each other, and then I was like, hey, let's book a call, man. I haven't talked to you since high school, so let's do that. Why not? So number 2 is the overwhelm factor. We are overwhelmed with our time. We are overwhelmed with the information of what to do in every single situation in our lives. We're overwhelmed with the disinformation and how to filter that out of our lives. And so that is another difficult thing to navigate for us. It's overwhelming. A perfect example for me is, I got into an argument where someone said, oh, now you're staying home, but you must have all this free time to work on that project. And I'm like, no, I don't think you get it. Before COVID hit, I was working 8:30 to 5:30 all day while my kids were at school and at programs to grow my current speaking business and build what I was doing. When COVID hit, all the speaking revenue stopped for 6 months, and now I'm working to recoup my business from scratch. And because of the kids and homeschooling, they interrupt every 10 minutes. I have to transition every hour. I'm doing more cooking and cleaning. And so I basically have literally I max out maybe 20, 25 hours a week with being able to do work to recoup the business that I'm trying to save or salvage, right? So that's a lot. And at the same time, I'm an extrovert. I want to get up there. I want to hug people, and I can't. One of the things I've been doing lately is going out to the parks and stuff and hikes. That's been healing. I'm so glad we're doing more of that. I think that's really, really, really helpful. So that overwhelm, we are all going through this in our own way. And so, if you're going to shame somebody for how they speak out or not speaking out or whatever they're doing, let's just be a little more careful. Let's be more empathetic. Let's be understanding. Even the people that I'm totally against, like the ones who are, I know people who are the ones who are protesting in the early days, right? I'm against that. I totally want to take the precautions. I'm doing this because I want to, protect my parents. I want to protect the vulnerable people in my lives. That's why I'm staying home. That's why I'm doing my due diligence and sucking it up to do it. The people that I'm against who are going out there and not practicing social distancing and not doing all the stuff they should be doing, yeah, I'm upset. But at the same time, when I engage them with empathy and care, and they're hurting too. They're confused. They're overwhelmed, right? So we have the uncertainty piece. We have the overwhelm piece because no one knows. And so when you have uncertainty of the likes of today, and when you have the overwhelm of the likes of today, that leads to the third thing, which is our mental health. And I think that is going to be a huge problem for many of us to navigate the mental health of our children, of our parents, of ourselves, of each other. You may be in a home where you may be with roommates that you can't stand. You may be in a relationship that's, not great. That's going to be you may be, and Heather says, spending time outside is a big help right now. Yeah, tap into the rhythm of nature. Go for walks, things like that. But some people don't have the same kind of luxury. I'm jealous of people that have a backyard and have a large house. I live in an apartment with no balcony and no backyard. And so I think that aspect is also going to be something that the mental health piece is something. How do we deal with the mental health? Again, reach out to each other. Be more empathetic. give yourself a break. Don't get carried away or freak out if you aren't able to keep up with stuff. It's totally fine. It's just interesting. I've received a lot of emails from people about, apologies for not getting back to you with my email. It's totally fine. I did the exact same thing. I was like, you know what, I'm sorry for not being in touch. And I think we need to be more mindful of that and be more empathetic that, if I get back to you via message by a month later, I'll apologize, but like seriously, go easy on me. If you apologize, great, I'll go easy on you too. Like we also have to take more due care with what's going on and how we're all dealing with it. So again, the three things that I think we're all dealing with throughout this entire COVID situation is, number one, the uncertainty factor, which is overwhelming. The second piece is the overwhelm of information, disinformation, and tasks that we have to take on. And then number three is the mental health situation, which we have to manage our mindset every day doing this. Every day I wake up and trying to figure this out. And thanks for all these people watching. Sean's here, Joseph, Jagar, Felipe, Jesse. This is great. Thanks so much for chatting with me. There's a lot for us to deal with. And, like I said before, I don't usually have dark days. I have dark hours. And I think I'm mentally strong, but I also have times where oh my God, how are we going to get through this? And I'm optimistic. I'm idealistic. But and I try to be a support and I try to be inspiring to people and be supportive. But sometimes who nurtures the nurturer, like Bobby? Well, it's my wife for the most part. She nurtures me, and I'm talking to friends now. So booking the calls is great. Hearing how people are doing, and Felipe, since you're actually on the call, I actually had about to call Chris Weir from our high school days, and I just had a call, and it was great. And we chatted. It was amazing, right? So. Yeah, Jesse, you're amazing. I want to talk to you. Let's book a call. Let's just talk what we're going through, because we if we can find the time to talk, I think that can go a long way. Now, that said, and again, I've been so overwhelmed. I haven't even had time to blog post or share a video on everything that I'm thinking about or what's going through my head. But I've been processing with the phone calls, with the 200 calls I've been making. I'm processing, what I'm doing. Jesse, I love that you say let's do it. Let's do it. That's great. And let me also press upon people, a lot of people say let's do it, and then as extroverts, amen, sister. It's tough for us, but a lot of people say let's do it, let's book a call, but then they don't follow up, and majority of people don't follow up. I will tell you that if you tell me what time you're available, I will book it in my calendar. I'm really good at doing that, and I do my best to do that. The other part that's overwhelmed is interesting is that because it's crazy. The kids are going to bed late. They're going to bed at 9:30, 10 o'clock. And then I'm just so exhausted. Do I want to get to the dishes? Do I want to get to the bathroom? Or do I want to get to just sit with Ananda, my wife, and just watch Netflix for an hour before we go to bed exhausted? The weekends have been great because we're going up for hikes, and it's way, way better. Good question. What's your biggest takeaway from 200 calls, Nazeem says? Well, the biggest takeaway is actually what I'm sharing with you, which is, the fact that we're all going through this, and we're all feeling some guilt, and we're all feeling overwhelmed, and we're all feeling the uncertainty aspect, and we're all trying to deal with the mental health thing. So, what I'm learning is that we have to understand that we don't know everything, and we have to, and we all have to deal with this our own way. But it's so important for us to stay in touch, build community, build connection, and to leverage that. I think that's been a huge lesson from every single person I've talked to. And let me just gently transition over to the other part that's also uncertainty and overwhelm and mental health is the protests, particularly against racial injustice. And someone who's a person of color, it's something I've dealt with my whole life, and I'm seeing it. And I remember the Rodney King stuff that happened back in the day, but this one, part of me, I'm troubled because there's just all this stuff's been going on our whole lives, and certainly it's been harder for my black friends and my indigenous friends than for what I've dealt with, because I've never felt like my life was ever in danger. But when I see what they're posting, it breaks my heart. It just and here's where I'm really, it's interesting. One, I'm glad that there's so much discussion and protests, and I really feel like there's some momentum behind that, I think, and for some actual change. I'm hopeful for that. At the same time, I'm also cautious of COVID and how it's all happening at the same time. And oh my gosh, I want everyone to be safe, and I don't ever want to be healthy. And so But and I'm glad that people, particularly my white friends, are stepping up and saying stuff. At the same time, I also see that a lot of people are complaining. Well, where were you before, and why aren't you stepping more? And you got to do more. Like, guys, like, we're only going to defeat this if we all work together. So the other thing, that's why again, connection and community is so important. Yes, we all need to rant in our own ways. We need to vent. We need to share what's going on, how we're feeling. But if we want to solve the problem, we have to do it together. I've always learned from my dad actually that if we want to, if the oppressed wants rights, they have to get the oppressors on side, and that's the big journey. That's the hard part. And so all the stuff going on with these protests, I'm fully supportive. I want to help as best I can. I think it's challenging for us to see, but I'm hoping for positive change. I'm hoping that there's we can get through this and get that change we need. I'm hoping that it'll maybe finally get us to vote in people that make sense, that are doing, who care about the greater good. Maybe it's going to get us to do better with the environment and really think about climate change. Maybe this is the moment where we will change and be better. And hey, Elena, good to see you. It's I'm hopeful. I'm optimistic. This is a chance for us to make that change and make that difference and do the best we can. And I'm hoping that it'll happen. At the same time, the seeing what's going on and seeing the videos and the photos, like, yeah, it adds to my overwhelm. It adds to my uncertainty. It adds to my mental health, navigation. So, and I'm sure it does for you too. And so, we're all trying to figure this out in the best way possible. And so, I wanted to share finally because I had a moment of solitude now. Well, I mean, I'm optimistic, Heather, but the truth is I don't know. But that's the part with the uncertainty thing. What I do know is that it's only going to happen if we can all work together. So if there's someone that is not on board with, calling out racial injustice, if someone's not on board with the cause, if someone not on board with all the things that, we're struggling with, we need to speak up. We need to stand up and do it in a way that, gets people at least talking about it. Again, I'm a big believer that bridging divide is bridging understanding is so more important than bridging divide. Divisiveness creates more divide. It doesn't do anything. If you look at my Twitter pinned tweet, I'm all about bridging understanding, and that even means like talking to people that are so far removed from you. It doesn't matter. You have to understand each other and find common ground and find commonality. And sure, there may be that certain percentage that are haters or trolls. You don't want to deal with them. Fine, but you know what? Even if you can get a few people on board to understand or listen to you and invite them on a conversation, that's going to be really, really helpful. We have to be the ones that are calling for unity, calling out the injustices, and stepping up and creating conversations. And so, and I've also been struggling with some of the Facebook posts and messages. People are saying stuff, and I sometimes take a break from social media. I don't even want to come back to Facebook for like a day or two. So I struggle with that too, like, because everyone's really emotional and everyone's really sensitive and everyone's really passionate, and we're all struggling. But this message for you is to tell you that, listen, I care about you no matter who you are and what you're doing, what you're going through. We're all going through something similar. We're also going through something different and unique for each of us. And if there's anything I can do to support that, or and figure things out, I'm here to help. I'm here to have conversations. I'm pivoting. I talk about pivot or perish, right, in my business world, but I'm pivoting everything. I'm pivoting how I teach my kids. I'm pivoting how I live my life. I'm pivoting how I'm recovering my business. And I'm even looking at the speaking world. Public speaking, being on stage in front of 1,000 people, I love that. And will it ever come back? I don't know. I really don't know. Like, maybe it'll come back. Maybe 70% virtual, 30% live. But then that means maybe I'll only get to do 5 or 10 speeches on stage per year. And if speaking on stage fills my soul, and I can only do it 5-10 times per year, well, how am I going to pivot? How am I going to progress? Well, start with just breathing. Start with talking to people, having conversations, and then doing what you can to try to navigate the uncertainty, the overwhelm, and the mental wellness that we're all trying to navigate through. So that's really, what the message is today. I haven't talked in a long time. Yeah, there are other ways to share my message here. That I appreciate that. This is my first time actually having the time to even just do a quick video and talk to you guys for like 10 minutes because I haven't had a chance. I want to continue with the sweet stories and songs. If you guys want to get together and just do a live video and just share a story and a song and just sing a song and have fun, I thought it was great doing that. I had a blast, so I want to keep doing that kind of stuff. All right, so yeah, I mean, I'm gonna keep breathing. I'm gonna keep planning. I'm gonna keep engaging my kids, trying to get out to nature. I'm gonna keep talking to people and trying to progress the best I can. And I'll keep doing calls with you guys. I'll keep sharing posts, and I'm very grateful for the network of people I have, my family and stuff. I mean, I certainly miss my friends. I miss hugs. I miss my mom and dad and my family and things like that. But we're doing the best we can with video calls and keeping in touch. And I'm grateful that I'm in a better position than other people, even though I'm struggling in some ways and other people are struggling in some ways. I'm grateful that I'm in a good position compared to other people. So yeah, so thanks everybody for the love and for the support. Oh, look at all the hearts. That's fantastic. Thanks. So, reach out to me anytime. Comment below if you have any other questions or whatever, and I'm happy to engage and talk about those things. All right. In the meantime, stay safe, stay home, get out, get some outdoor nature stuff. Call people, talk to people, reach out to me if you have questions, and just look out for each other with more due care, more kindness. All right. So long. Take care. Love y'all.